allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mike, just before we get started, and I know the first order of business is the public hearing, but probably because our mayor and council president are both gone, but although I know what the plan is, probably the appropriate thing would be for the council to elect one of you three to be the chairman pro tem for today's meeting.
Almost chairman.
This is,
I think you
unanimous.
I move that we ask Mike Warren to serve as chairman or mayor for today.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
We wanted the railroad job to be official.
The first item on our agenda is, of course, the budget hearing, and we need to find out if there are any comments in regards to the budget for the next fiscal year.
If I may, I've picked up a couple things that just, well, they're clarifications from when we met a month ago in the budget process to where we are today, just some little changes. They don't affect the total budget, but I will read the line items, that way Amy can get them and we'll get the changes made in the budget so anyway, street fund. Ron has learned that the chip seal that we were expecting to have done about the 20th of June for the M Street isn't going to be able to be done until sometime in July. So that project is going to have to carry over into another year. So the changes that need to be made is in our revenue in the street fund, item number 20-33-200, which was the SCA grant, Small Cities Allotment Grant, that is we expected to have expended by the end of June this year, now needs to be carried forward and have a $50,000 revenue item for in our next year's budget. On the other side of that, the expenses for the chip seal that will still be taking place now won't happen until June or July. So on the expense side in the street fund, we would in line item 20-4733, which is industrial M Street, we need to carry forward $13,242.37 to be exact. And then the next item is 20-40-734, and that is SCA 2012, is $13,013.59, and those will be where we'll pay the county for the chip seal part of it. Those will take care of those two. The other one that is in our Head Start Community Development Block Grant. We haven't spent as far into the engineering services at this point as thought we would by the end of July. Do you want me to bore you with all the numbers and read them off, or just give them to Amy and she can? I better do. On revenue, we need to add $50,000. I'd overestimated by that much how much we would spend by this time in the year, so we're going to end up spending it next year instead of this year. So I want to add $1 million, or the number now needs to be $1,587,389. And on the expense side, I had $75,000 for next year for the engineering services, and we need to raise that up to $125,000 because we're not going to spend it all as much this year that we're in as I thought. So that number would be in engineering services, which is $23,40,330, would be $125,000 instead of $75,000. And those all balance out. It adds $75,000 essentially to next year's budget, or $50,000 to next year's budget. Thank you. And I believe those are the only ones I have. Think.
Any other comments or discussion in regards to the budget? All right then. We'll move on to our next item on the agenda, and that is public comment. If anybody who would like to make complaints? Anything? Guess not, we're doing good. All right then. Communications, comments, and informational items. We had 3 items, one in regards to the fire season, and then one in regards to drought, and then a thank you from the School of Dance. Any comments on those? Department reports, committee minutes and updates. We have police report, and Chief Gray is here. Chief, is there any additions to your report?
Not that I can think of.
And the 911 report, Scott Utley?
Your Honorable Mayor and council members.
Whoa.
I need my money. Oh, wait.
You're here to announce you're becoming a Republican candidate.
Running in the next
Everybody else.
We're in the process of upgrading our telephone system. We're just starting to go through the RFI and the other bidding processes. We meet with a couple of vendors. Next month, we're looking at installation right around October. This is state funding, upgrade our 911 switch and all the equipment. July, the middle of July, we'll be upgrading our computer-aided dispatch, which will be able to utilize mobile data terminals, which will be in the sheriff's vehicles. Be able to talk directly from dispatch to their vehicles without using the radio. We can send messages, we can send maps, we can send everything via basically a text message. We start next month with a Homeland Security grant. We ended up with, this was done by the state joint thing, and when we type into our computer dispatch for state police, ODOT, Klamath County, Crook County, Deschutes County, the messages will go directly to them, so we don't have to follow it up with a phone call, and we'll be able to direct basically type between dispatch centers, so we don't have to utilize long distance information. So we're moving slowly, but up into the 20th century.
Scotty, is that the computer change out that you went through just a few months ago, is that all working pretty well?
Our CAD vendor, which is ESI, Executive Information Services, will be down for 2 weeks. And because all the servers, the new servers and backroom IT stuff is all on the Windows 7 to 10 platform. The EIS's platform is now like Windows 2000. So they had dummy everything down. So it'll be a 2-week period. They're coming installing a new microwave point-to-point from dispatch center to the courthouse, because all of our communication now goes over a DSL line, which everybody knows that DSL goes one way, not 2 ways. So we can send stuff to them very fast, but it comes back very, very slow. So the county opted to put in a microwave link, which would be like a T3 line. The phone company wanted $580 a month for that line. And so the county chose to go with the microwave, so now they can link mental health, all the different county agencies who go through the microwave to their server for internet stuff. So,
What was the question?
we got lots of,
You got a full explanation.
anyway, their propeller heads will be down working with our IT person from Goose Lake, trying to make all this whiz-bang stuff work.
Right, so I don't know how you tie it all together, but it's good you can.
Well, thank goodness we have a very good IT person to work with us, to help us It's way above my pay grade on what they do behind the scenes, but it's hopefully going to work. Because right now, if we want to pull what we call a six-pack, if we have a crime that has suspects, what you do is you get a photo lineup of 6 people. It's called a six-pack, and then officers throw it down and say, pick the bad guy. Well, if we do it from the 911 center or the police department and we have to request it through the computer to the corrections part of it, pull the photos and the appropriate people, they can do it in under a minute there. But if we do it over at dispatch, you can inquire it, and then go eat lunch, go arrest about 3 people, and then come back, and it might be ready. So that's why we're.
So this will speed it up and
I
down.
hope so.
Nice for everybody.
Appreciate it, Scott.
At some point in time, the town police have an option to go to the mobile data terminals in their vehicles. So we will basically be communicating through computers instead of using the radio. So that's an option.
Well, that
It's just money.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we have
As
so
Mark
much.
with Motorola says, yeah, throw enough money at it, we'll make it work.
Well, the computers we've already got.
We got.
I got 10 Toughbook laptops donated from Clackamas County Sheriff's Office to the PD. And one's already in use with
911.
911.
As if we have to evacuate, then we can move with at least our computer dispatch, we can go over
And they're about $5,000 piece computers.
Oh, that's a nice.
We're moving forward, there's a lot of sensitive stuff you can't say over the radio where this will be done through the vehicle.
It should be much more secure.
How long will it take some of our residents to find some kind of plectron that would be capable of doing that?
It won't, you can't snag MDC.
I am always amazed at the
Messages.
number of people who have
Yeah.
scanners.
Yeah.
Scanners gonna become obsolete.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, and it,
It's a mess.
the agency I used to work for when I first started up there was just normal, like we're operating now. And then about '97, we went to the MDCs. And not only was it nice to be able to take it out of your car and type your reports on it and have all your stuff there, we had mapping programs. And then when I left, they had mapping programs that were so complex that your call would come up, you'd hit the address line, and it would automatically bring up the county map, show where you were in relation to the call. And basically you drove the green dot to the red dot. And it made it pretty
Pretty good systems.
yeah, it really sped things
Far
up.
more efficient.
And it cut the radio traffic down quite a bit.
Good.
Cool.
That's interesting. Okay, the fire report, Dennis Morrow, Fire Chief. Dennis, do you have anything additional?
The only thing I would add is, as you know, this last weekend we did the fill the boot. We was out there for about 3 hours and I think we got pretty close to $2,000. So with that and the carryover that they had from last year, they should have more than enough money to pay for the fireworks. Plus they're gonna do some more fundraisers over the 4th, so.
Appreciate all the volunteers for all the
Yeah,
donated time to do that. That's good.
will they handle it at the fairgrounds again?
I believe so, yeah, everything's being handled with Leanne down there.
Sounds
It
great.
seems like the firefighters fund adds a lot to it, so. That's
Well, I
all
was
you guys.
really surprised considering, we was there last year on the same weekend and we didn't do quite that well. And then with True Value not being there and being over there, the traffic over there, other than the people going to the park, was pretty limited. It's a dead spot in town on a Sunday.
All right, thanks, Dennis. Engineering report.
Daryl was going to be here, but he's doing negotiations with the school district, employment, labor negotiations.
Okay. And Public Works, Ron, do you have any additions?
We got the pool up and running for the Sunday opening and I'm still working, so. Monitoring the drawdown on well 7, watching the water levels, so. keep you abreast on that.
Ron, I also mentioned that I had some comments on the street I live on on, I guess, the covering of the water mains that you did on between 7th and 9th or so in there. And it's really appreciated, and it looks like a good job.
They did
driven over it, and it
They
seems
did a good job
so.
paving.
And they're still doing something now, or like sealing it or something?
Well,
They're down there with a hot machine doing something
didn't notice that.
right now.
They probably, I think they were gonna come back and do a crack seal on
Oh.
top.
Yeah, they might be the cracks.
Okay, looks good,
Actually, that was.
pretty smooth.
They're down on South 4th Street, down towards Mountain View this afternoon.
Okay.
I think they'll probably be, or likely to be finished with the paving part tomorrow, with the basic paving. Weather permitting.
All right, then, and Ray, did you have anything to add to your report?
I was only gonna, party, the pool, summer party went off pretty well on Sunday. Don't really know how many people, except we got rid of all the cake again. Dennis reported about their part. I looked and tried to get an idea, but I'd say there was 125 to 140 people in the pool up there probably at one time. And I think everybody did well. And just like last year, I think the consensus is we need to keep doing it, so.
Did swim team do well?
Yes, they did. I spoke with Teresa Decker this morning and they sold all 70 of their tri-tips.
70?
Plus their
And all their hamburgers.
hamburgers and hot dogs and all that stuff. So, Bright Beginnings sold ice cream alongside of the cake, and
Sold all of it.
they got rid of all their ice cream, I think. All that didn't melt at least.
Yeah.
And the snow cone machine that the chamber had over there was a very in-demand item. Ginger and Ann Logan had a tent, a booth set up for the Main Street, the Lakeview Community Partnership program, answering questions and gathering ideas. And so it was kind of a last-minute thing, but they got some ideas there. So anyway, it was again a success. I think it's probably a work in process. Every year probably add little things that complement what we did last year. But we're just waiting for the year that it snows instead of 90 degrees. And that probably is in our future. So that's it.
Thanks, Ray. Next item on our agenda is a consent calendar, and it is a regular session minutes from May the 26th.
I'll make a motion that we accept the consent calendar of May 26th as written.
I'll second that.
Okay, we're first and second, and all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And under mayor, council, manager updates, Ray, you didn't have anything else on that? Or did you have anything?
The only thing else I was going to add, and we talked about it briefly, I think, just before we started the meeting, but we will have a work session in conjunction with the meeting on the 23rd. And, we're going to talk about water and, to start beginning to plan for a water use curtailment plan in case we do get into, serious drought circumstances that are causing our water to be limited, or, some other emergency that may come along that, that we need to be better planned for. Ron earlier today, just a little while ago, told me that, the well 7, which happened to be offline last night and early this morning, but it just tripped off. That the water level is about 75 feet, he said, in it, which is not normal. So, we're doing okay. But we do need to, I think it'd be best if before we have a crisis, that have a plan for how we deal with the crisis a little ahead of time. So we may not make final decisions, but we'll discuss it at least at a work session at 3. Let's start at 3 o'clock on the 20th.
Can I back up and ask a question in regards to the letter that we received from the state for the drought and affecting the wastewater? Do we really anticipate any?
We do
Probably.
not discharge during the summer months.
Okay, so it's not gonna affect, okay,
Won't
okay.
affect us on that.
What kind of scared me when I read the letter. Thought that might not be good, so, okay, cool. All right then, and the counselors, I don't have anything. I might, in a minute, call on Ginger. She can probably give us a good report on someplace I should have been last night, or Ray. And that was the Lakeview Partnership Committee meeting, but I'll go ahead and ask the counselors first if you have some reports you'd like to give.
I attended as many as, I don't know, I think some of the rest of you did too, the WILD presentation sponsored or kind of organized by the Chamber of Commerce, and it was quite a lovely evening. And later, sitting in one of our local establishments, I sat with Thule and some of the people from Travel Oregon, and they were most complimentary over the crowd that came, how it was handled, you know, all the things that got done, and we're very pleased with it, and they've got some future ideas for us. So they mentioned the Main Street program and how that was going, and so it was, I think it was a win-win all the way around. Plus my daughter got her picture taken with Cheryl Strait, and she was elated, and so I just thought it was a lovely evening. And graduation is over?
Sounds like it was a safe one too.
Yes, sounds like it was a safe one. The kids had a great time. I thought it was one of the nicest graduations. Moved right along. It was clever. It was well done. So, and that's my last senior. Good for you.
This go around.
This quarter.
Congratulations.
I'll be in a home drooling on myself.
Be careful, I've already got my great grands. Be careful.
I never started on that yet.
I went down to Reno to see one of my daughters, and we went to a little town called Genoa, which is the oldest town in Nevada. And I was just looking at it as far as a destination town, and thinking how with the MC wagon and the things that they're doing with you all, this Cowboy Days that they're looking at, it would be fun to see, and with the Main Street, if Lakeview would be able to do something similar to that and become a destination town. And it was a much smaller community, of course, than Lakeview, but it was just so well done. There's such pride in the town. I think that I was rejuvenated, or rejuvenated, I should say, rather than rejuvenated, to start doing something with the Main Street.
Where is that from, Reno?
It's south,
It's toward Carson City.
Yeah, okay.
It's just south of, yeah, it's south of Carson City, and it's right at the foot of the mountain, below Tahoe. It's really quite a lovely little place.
I was gonna say too, Barb Simpson and I visited with Ginger about the Main Street thing, and we're looking at some funding and some, we have what we think is a lot of money, but it won't probably go that far. We really would like to get back to our original purpose on the Daly, Dr. Daly Memorial type thing. But we're not sure that your tree is gonna leave, our tree is gonna leave us enough room to put it there. So we're looking at some other, you know, possibilities, but we're definitely going to be talking with the Main Street people about bringing, because if we're talking about, you know, I think it becomes historically important, and that's, brings in certain funding. I think it's economically a good idea. I can't, how many people do we know that moved here, especially with Forest Service and BLM, because we had those scholarship funds?
Right.
Or people that could have transferred out, but said, no, I've got a sophomore in high school, we're staying. So I think that that can be turned into something like, much like the MC, that we could utilize that way and bring some attention to that. When the president, what was it, Princeton? President of Princeton is holding Lakeview Scholarship Program up as the ideal thing that community should be doing. I think we need to capitalize on that. So we're looking at that.
I think, you know, just adding your thoughts, and this is really kind of a committee thing probably in the Main Street and with your group, Sharon, but having worked with EMC a little bit, you know, Ron's family, Mary has some stuff up there. But, you know, there's a lot of Dr. Daly stuff around. And, you know, if we can just find the right location, I think we could raise the money to do a similar kind of display where you don't have to go in, you don't have to have somebody inside maintaining it necessarily, but you know, interpretive things that you can go around and look at, and maybe the bronze stuff outside and whatever. But I think there's a great opportunity. I don't know where to do it exactly.
We've kind of figured out we can't afford the bronze thing, but we're looking at something like flags. And we would rather, we'll make it the daily center, but we will also acknowledge Collins McDonald and Anna B. Jones and all of the ones that are self-perpetuating, not ones that come and last, you know, briefly and then the funding's gone, but the self-perpetuating ones. And then, but what I'd really like to know is, the last I knew, and it may have been found, but nobody could find Dr. Daly's desk.
What do you know about it?
That it's gone.
Do you have any
But
description?
weren't they talking
pictures?
about it? You thought maybe it was
Yeah.
that old roll top desk that you knew of?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Does anybody have any pictures of it, or?
I
Know where
think
it
if we
was?
got a hold of Shireen Glenn, she might have some.
We need to get a
information.
picture of it, because it may be sitting in my house in the Applegate, I don't know. That would be pretty amazing.
It would be really wonderful.
Yeah.
You know, down, so yeah. But if we could find some of those things, like the school, and it sits in the safe down there, they have his gold pocket watch. And so I know there are things like that, and different people have them, and different families have them, and things that were at the museum. Of course, if we take them out, we'll be accused of stealing.
Umpqua Bank has his original bank ledgers down there. Right, immediately after the fire, there were a couple of kids that actually discovered those last year. We did an article on it last year.
Yeah. So see, if we start putting that word out, I think we'll find things like that. That's great.
Mike, did you have anything else?
No, sir.
Okay. Ginger, I said I would maybe call on you. I didn't make the meeting last night of it's the official name of Main Street for our community is,
Lakeview Community Partnership.
okay, and you had a meeting last night and
We
you
did.
pretty well getting.
Yeah,
followed up
it was a really good, I think it was a really good meeting. Yes. Let's see, highlights are, we're rapidly trying really rapidly to move ahead with getting our 501c3 designation, our tax exempt status. We sort of bantered around for a while trying to decide, you know, if we wanted to do something with the LCDC, the Lake County Development Corporation, or what and finally we just went, you know what? If we're really gonna be serious and we're gonna do this right, we just need to do it right. So, because we really, I mean, our intention is to make this a very viable program. And so if we wanna step up to the plate with the big boys and get historic preservation money and restoration money and whatever else comes down the pipe, then that's really what we need to do. We did formulate a board of directors, so we're sort of moving out of the steering committee phase into actually having a board. It's a 7-member board. We had some agreement last night. I can officially say we appointed Rob Nichols as president without him being there, but he came in my office today and nodded his head, yes, he'd do it. So, you know, you have to be careful when you don't show up to meetings. You lucked out. Anyway, so we have our board all organized. We are going to, and all of the details that go along with all of that, we're working on fairly religiously. We made our first kind of official request for something for the downtown. We ask, we're going to Pacific Power to ask them if they will please paint and repair the power poles on East Street, and ask if you to get permission to place brackets on them so we can do flags or plants or whatever we need to do. So that's in the works. It doesn't sound like much, but I think it'll spiff things up. Anything we do, you know, to try to correlate with what happened on F Street, you know, that sort of thing. We are going to have a community meeting, community-wide meeting to unveil, so to speak, the planning process that we've been through, and the 3 action committees that are forming. One is promotion, one is economic development, and the other one is design. And there's a board member that will be involved in each one of those committees. Some of them, there'll be 2 board members. But we're asking the community to look at that and see if there are areas that they would like to be involved with. We also brainstormed some thoughts about what would be the tasks or projects that would be under each one of those things. So we've got that. The community meeting, we will be giving a brief description about what it is. People will be able to sign up, and the idea is that we're not letting you out of the room until we have, each committee has a brief meeting about, how they're gonna organize initially and go forward. The other really exciting thing is Kathy Johnston Tacky, who is the sister of Deanna Walls, is a co-executive director of the United Way in Rock Springs, Wyoming, and she was very instrumental in the Main Street program there. And I don't know if any of you know anything about Rock Springs, Wyoming, but it has enjoyed a very colorful reputation in the past, and not necessarily one that was positive, or that their downtown had was a pleasant place. And they have really turned that around. And she's going to be here for the meeting on July 8th. We're hoping it's going to be at the Senior Center. I think it's at 6:30. She's going to come do a little, presentation about what happened in Rock Springs, and relate from her. She's a hometown gal. How she sees, that being a positive thing there, and how it can really impact what happened there and how it can impact here. And she's also going to do a little presentation about what she's learned about how, when you go through this process, what does it mean? What does community mean? And what do those partnerships that evolve out of that, how do you sort of manage that? So I think it's going to be a really dynamic meeting. We'll have some food, and that's sort of the kickoff with the community. We've done a lot of sort of behind the scenes kind of work, and this is now, it's time for us to become more inclusive and get people involved. What have I missed? I think that's about it. It's very exciting. I think it's going to take time. I don't think we're going to do a whole lot of things overnight, but I think there are a few things like the power poles and things like that seem like they're small, but little things like that begin to add up, and we'll move on to bigger and better things as we get going. And I really think that the daily memorial, whatever it is that you're going to call it, really fits into the whole promotion. It really kind of fits in all 3, but it'll settle into one of those. And I'm fairly certain it was on the list in one of those committees. I can't remember which one, but there was something about that. So, stay tuned.
Ginger, I appreciate you giving us an update, and it sounds like the Main Street program is off and running. I look forward to the conference.
President Pro Tem. Just a few other dates to throw out that are things that are coming up. Of course, this evening, until 7 o'clock tonight, there's an event going on at the Senior Center, or Senior Fair, I think they're calling it. Spaghetti dinner, and I don't know what else. So when you leave here, we expect you all to go over there and have spaghetti. Also on the 18th, Thursday evening from 5:30 to 7:30, the Community Health Improvement Project, CHIP, will be having a community meeting at the Elks. Food's going to be there as well, that always helps. The health fair is on the 20th at the hospital, and Lynn's going to talk a little more about that in a minute. And then Ginger just mentioned the 8th of July is the next bigger Main Street meeting. So.
All right, so we've got a lot of meetings
You
coming
said
up.
for CHIP is, did you?
18th.
The 18th.
Thursday the 18th. All right then, and that is our reports from the council and the manager. We also have on the agenda for consideration a new business item, and that is the Lake Health District street closure for June the 20th, Dr. Daily Days, and that is J Street between 6th and 7th, and we have Linda Michelson here.
You guys just stay on long enough, I won't have to say too much, because I've heard this routine, I think, for 3 or 4 years. It'll be closed, actually, we'll close it at 7 in the morning. That's so people don't park in that area, and farmers market can set up their booths, but it's, we do have people, 7th Street will be blocked with cones, but there will be people there to allow an ambulance, police, or safety vehicles down if they need to, but people can get into the parking lot, but we're trying to keep them, unless they have to go to ER or something. The other side, 6th, where J Street joins it, is blocked with tape. That one isn't, as people don't walk through that, but it works well. We are done at 2, it goes from 10 to 2, but we do block it at 7 in the morning. So, and then I advise the police that we are closing the street, if you approve that request. It's worked out very well for us, and very
I don't think we've had any
successful.
problems in the past, have we?
No, well, we haven't, I don't know about you guys.
It's always, I think it's always been fine, and again, it's, they're able to allow the emergency vehicles to get to the emergency room. And so, no, I think it's, I haven't had any problems wrong.
Well, I would entertain a motion for the closure.
I would make a motion that we honor the request for temporary street closure during the annual Dr. Daily Days Health Fair on 6/2015 by Lake Health District.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you very much.
All right, and I don't believe we have an executive session.
Nope.
All right, well, I will adjourn the meeting at